me at least it shows me that my microphone is responding, so it should work. Please tell me that it works. Just gonna adjust the chat window a bit. Doop-de-doop. Yep, that looks good.
While we're waiting, I can imitate the sound of a faraway disco.
Okay, good luck with that.
It works. All right.
Okay, looks good.
So also close Skype notifications.
I will
Or
do
stop.
that right now. Good idea. Okay.
Wasn't mine. Was Hannah's
Yep, I always forget that.
note. So that's where you got us. That's our only in CrossCode. We tell Felix that he forgot to turn off his Skype notifications.
And also forgot to save and a lot of other things too.
Yeah, right. So
Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to another CrossCode dev stream. And today you have me, I'm Laxen, aka Felix, doing the work here, and with me in Skype is Stefan, aka RD.
hello.
Just mixed up nick and name as usual.
Yeah, no problem.
Just random order.
Yeah.
And okay, so yeah, what do we do today? Today the plan is that we will work on a couple of maps again. So we will create another map you will see in Bergen Trail. But it will not just be regular mapping this time. We will actually try to create a few puzzles that you will have in this map. So the focus less on decorative stuff like properties and details. It's mostly about creating this puzzle and maybe implementing a new entity if we need that. Because I mean, some of the things we plan to do are not fully supported yet by the entities we have, so we might have to add some stuff. So that's like kind of like a mix of programming and mapping today, I would say. Maybe a bit of graphics too in between, but yeah, that's more or less it. And that's the plan, at least for what we will implement. And of course, before that, we have some questions again, because we actually got a couple of questions, exactly 2 questions from the watchers, and we can look at those first.
Oh wait, Felix. To
Mhm.
improve your internet, should I better call you?
Maybe that I don't know could help, yeah. So let's just do that. I'll
Yeah,
just
second.
stop and you call me again. Right. Okay, here you go. Hello.
All right, let's see if this works better.
Yeah, I wonder, but it might just work. Help. All right. And of course, yeah. As you might see in the stream, a couple of things changed. For instance, I'm not at university today. The reason for that, I was just too lazy to go to university by bike today, just for this stream. Also because it's incredible hot here in Germany right now, and I don't want to ride my bike too often if I don't have
Yeah,
to.
like the heat is just OP, man.
Yeah,
Better nerf.
we're close to record heats in Germany actually, so that's really it's horrible. Uh, so that's one reason, and also I actually would like to see if that works out, and if it does, we might actually probably do the streams from my home, from my place here, because it's just easier. I save time because going to university and back, well, it takes some time for me. So that's why you have a different background today, and I hope the connection works out. I don't have quite the same internet connection here at home, but if things work out, probably will do it from here from now on. Otherwise, I will go back to university. Okay,
Or buy better internet.
I'm not sure I can actually. Well, I think I have pretty much the best internet connection I can get in this place. I think I have to check. Okay, so let's start with the watcher per questions. The first one,
Let's.
I'm just gonna paste those again in a notepad and broadcast this and make it larger so people can hopefully read it. So, um, this one is an interesting question. How do you calculate your EG attack damage? What role do the stats play? Which influence has defense on damage the enemies do to you? Um, so now up at the very beginning, the damage formula actually used to be very simple, and I actually can just tell it to you like this. So damage used to be like this. Damage is just, I just write the answer right here. So damage used to be like this. It's just 2 times the attack value of the player, for instance, minus the def value of the enemy. That's just how things used to be. That means for each attack point, you got 2 more damage, and this was reduced by every defense point by the enemy. Now this is the base damage. Let's just call this one. This is the base damage. And what always happens is that each attack has a factor for this damage. So it's scaled depending on this. So the damage is actually here base damage times attack factor times, and then there's also the defense factor. This is usually by the enemy. So it also happens that in some occasions the enemy has a defense factor, so it gets multiplied by this. And the attack factor is defined by the attack. So for instance, if you just throw a small ball, and the attack factor used to be 0.5, so you essentially just do half the damage, but it doesn't really depend. It's just calculated on this base damage, so it's kind of independent on attack and defense. Like there's some stuff where you can apply factors before you reduce the defense value, but that's kind of risky because that makes weak attacks very useless against enemy with high defense and things like that. That's why we apply these kind of factors after we reduce the defense. And there's also like elemental defense here. That's also a factor that gets multiplied on the base damage. Then there's
And
also like there's
skill
also
bonus.
skill bonus, like you get a certain bonus from charge bolts do more damage, or melee does more damage, and these kind of things. There's all kind of things here. There's also like the critical bonus which gets applied on top of this base damage, which really depends on the focus value. So depending on the focus, that's how we calculate the probability of a critical hit, which is a whole different formula. So I mean that's how things used to be at the beginning. Now, unfortunately, it turned out that this kind of formula is not very actually that. What did I just moved here? So it's like this: 2 times attacks minus 1 times def. That's how things used to be, but it didn't work out because it turned out that if you use this kind of formula, attack is just way too powerful. If you have a too high attack value, you do so much damage. And on the other hand, if the enemies have a too high def value, you just do 1 damage very quickly. So it was like very extreme. On the one hand, you were really overpowered if you had a high attack value, and then you were essentially you couldn't do anything if your attack value was too low. So it was kind of too extreme. So, and then we tried to came up with something else. I actually have to open the code and look it up. So give me a second here.
It's like a crazy formula. It's like if
Yeah.
attack is larger than the defense, we multiply the attack with
Yeah. I'm just gonna copy the formula here. And
yeah, better do that. Like it's
yeah, I have no problem with sharing that. I mean, that's just essentially just some formula that I came up with by just trying out things. I actually created a spreadsheet and just did some calculations with several example values and checked, now, does this make sense? Does this kind of work? And that's how I came up with some formula that I'm gonna try to explain you now. I hope I can find this one quickly. Here's damage formula. Oh, I actually have it here.
Spreadsheets OP. That's true.
Oh yeah, spreadsheets are very useful for balancing stuff. Okay, so actually I can just paste the two functions that I have here. Actually, I extracted this into a very nice core um, functionality in our
Yeah,
JavaScript code, like this.
like you had this.
So,
Yeah, go on.
so we had like damage formula. We had the linear one, which I explained up there. It's just 2 times the attack value minus the def value. That was the old one. Now we have this weird percentage formula, which works in two ways. Either the attack value is higher than the def value. In that case, you take the attack value and then you multiply it by something strange. Oh my gosh. Let me just try. So um, you multiply it by 1 plus a certain factor which increases the higher the attack value is, but it never goes beyond 1. That's kind of like the rule here. So if you think about it, this is 1 minus def minus attack. This term here never goes beyond 1 because
Why
attack.
don't you make an example with values?
Duh. Then I have to do a calculation. Maybe I find the spreadsheet and then I can show it to you. I have to check if I can find it. I think I hope we have it somewhere in our dev folder.
Hey, well, no, you don't have to. Like, I mean,
It's kind of difficult. Well, okay, I can try to do that. Actually, yeah, I can just, of course, I can just take some examples here. So let's say we have 100 attack and 50 defense. So essentially what you get is like, you get the attack, you get, let me just paste this line here. So we get the first case because attack is higher than defense. So the first say, which means we get like 100 attack times 1 plus mass power 1 minus, this is now 50 divided by 100 dot attack power factor. This is just a constant, and these constants were something that we just tried to replace with something until it just worked. And I'm gonna tell you those values too. I mean they're pretty
attack
much
power factor it's 0.5. It's exactly half.
.5 like this.
Yeah.
And the other one, attack max add.
Attack max add. Attack max add is 0.2.
0.2. So yeah, that's these are the two values, and they seem pretty much arbitrary. That's because we just tried out these values with several cases of attack and defense values until we found something which we felt, well, this looks kind of okayish. Let me just use that one. And so again, if you have this kind of thing, you realize, okay, this is actually 1 minus 1 half, because 50 divided by 100 is 1 half. So you get a power of 1 half. This is now 0.2, 0.5, I mean, and this is 0.2. So if you calculate this, if you take the square root from 1 half, I think it's, yeah, it's actually something which is probably not something I can calculate in my head. So it's 1 minus the square root of 2. I don't know. So it's just the reason is actually why we use power here. Power is actually a very interesting formula. It allows you to kind of have certain values have more or less impact. If you just take some linear development, like okay, this is not really linear, but it's some kind of development, then you just make a square root around it, or some power with a factor smaller 1. It kind of makes the impact less dramatic, and that usually helps. We did this essentially to make sure that the attack value doesn't blow up too much. So we just choose this one in a way that it doesn't just increase slightly if you have a very high attack value. And
Maybe scaled it. So
essentially, it's kind of like scaling, even so like the higher it is, the less impact it will have. Something like this.
it sounds counter-initiative, but it actually helps.
Yeah, I mean the
Keeping weaker enemies longer in the play.
yeah, for instance, or
And
just
if you look at other damage formulas, like for instance Final Fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much every Final Fantasy has a known damage formula because everyone cracks them.
Yeah.
You notice that they do kind of the same. They have always a mechanism in there that helps to scale the damage down the stronger you are.
Mm-hmm. I think,
So that,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So that
go ahead.
that's exactly. So I mean, I don't know. At the beginning, I actually thought I would really like to keep the formula simple, but it just turned out that it didn't work out that way. Just having this kind of formula. There was another way that where you say the base damage is actually not calculated by attack or def, but kind of depending on the level. But I kind of just wanted to have a formula which is independent of the level. It just depends on attack and def value, and so that's what we
Yes,
came up with.
that's very important, I think.
I'm not sure. Sometimes I think a formula with level might actually work out better because it's more predictable, but I don't know. I mean, this works so far.
Yeah,
Um,
I like it that way. I mean, we this is really just the most simple way to showcase this because there's actually more going on, like Felix said earlier.
I
Um,
mean, this is just the core of the damage formula, but I think it
this is
is,
just the core, yeah.
but it's the most complicated part. I mean, this is like how the base damage is calculated, and everything else is essentially just applying factors on top of it. So
Yeah.
that's actually not complicated at all. It's just multiply 1, 1.2, 0.5, and I don't know, just to scale this damage depending on several factors. But just getting this core damage right is this base damage. That's the hard part, I think. So defense power factor. Do you know this one, Stefan? Can you just tell me, or I can look it up myself.
Defense power
1.5
factor
actually.
1.5. So,
Mm.
well, it makes sense because you have an attack power factor of 0.5. You want that the lower the attack, the more impact it has, right? So the higher the def value is, the more you decrease the damage.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so
All
this
right.
one really has to be above 1.5. Okay, no, no, wait, let me think about this. 1.5. So, okay, again, this is a value. Attack divided by def. Look at this. Def is always larger than or equal the size of attack. So if they're exactly equal, this one evaluates to 1. If you take the power of a value of 1, it just stays 1. So it's exactly the same. If they're the same, you just get the regular attack value here, which is actually the same you will have in this case. If attack and def are equal, you just get attack. That was actually was important to me. I wanted the formula to just, if attack and defense are equal, it just returns attack as the base damage. So
Hmm.
that's still the case here. But now, if attack increases, this value goes below 1 and goes towards 0, the higher defense goes. But I mean, it takes a longer time. And this defense power factor equal to 1.5, it just makes sure that it goes to the 0 quicker, essentially. So, I mean,
Hmm.
if I just don't use anything, it will just have the regular mass 1 divided by x, essentially. That's the formula you will have. And if I just apply a power of greater than 1, it will just go quicker to the 0. And I just use this because I felt that defense didn't have enough impact, so I just increased this to 1.5. And that was like the right value. If I increase this one value, defense will have more impact if it's higher than attack. If I decrease this value, it will have less impact. So that's more or less it. And I just found out that this value kind of works, and that's it. So yeah, that it's a mess really. It's not really intuitive, but it kind of works. And it's designed in a way that this formula behaves similar to the linear formula when attack and defense are close to each other. That was also important to me. If they're close to each other, they should kind of like behave the same way. But if attack is much larger or defense is much larger, they kind of like scale in a way that it's less overpowered. That was the whole goal here. So yeah, yeah, it took
All
some
right, I
time, but
see.
that's how attack is calculated in CrossCode right now. I mean, we might actually still change this. I will not guarantee this will stay forever, but so far it seems to work out fine. So yeah, I hope this answers the question for now. I mean, if you want to have any other insight on any other formula, just ask. Watcher questions are still open. So next
Next question,
question.
should I? Oh, next question is in German.
Is it? Oh,
Oh,
well,
by
well.
Vegeta.
Vegeta, yeah. I mean, just paste it here
Vegeta,
and
yeah.
then we can translate it. So, um,
Stream monster
I
who's
would
currently in
like
stream.
to know how your entities or events work and how complex they can become. For example, if the platform, okay, if you can control platforms over switches, and if those can, well, stay on walls and counter, and whoa, don't fly through. Whoa, this is kind of a complicated question. Oh my.
I think that's like a question where I think we could basically make a whole stream about that again, because I mean you can easily answer the question how complex they become, however complex we want them to be.
Yeah. So, like we design
Literally.
our entities very, very use case specific, which is something that every game developer should do really. So, like, think use case specific, and we just make our entities as complex as they just need to be to do the stuff we want to do, and maybe the stuff we are sure we will do in the future. Um,
Hmm.
so, in our case, I think our switches are actually these are more. I just let me just try to understand. Oder ob man. Okay, so the last question I think can answer very quickly. If you can move blocks over several rooms, that's something that we have to hack essentially. I mean, that's something I decided for the engine from the very beginning that each map is separate. Like entities are not shared among maps. That's just it's like one limitation I decided to do from the very beginning because it just keeps things simple. If you try to share entities among all maps, it just like you have to consider things among all maps, and this will just make things much more complicated. But you can
Yeah.
still try to script things. So you can say, if you push down a block in a certain part in your map, you just have to script that it will just appear in another room. That's possible to some extent.
Yeah,
So
because literally every entity has a spawn condition, and the
yeah,
spawn condition can be anything. It can be a value, it can be a bool, right? It's
yeah.
just something we have to set.
Let me just show a bit how the editor looks like, how the maps from Rookie Dungeon, for instance, look like. I think that would
Well, no, I just wanted to say,
just very quickly. And
yeah,
but
Rookie
otherwise,
Dungeon.
actually, you will see more stuff of this because today we actually will implement a couple of puzzles. So that's more or less the topic of today's stream. I mean, it's the
Freaks you, by the way, people say, at least Cry says that you are dropping frames.
crap. I hope it's not too bad.
I can't really say because all I see, I can't hear you. I see the camera
Hmm.
dropping from time to time, but I think it's just your camera. But now you're actually moving something, so I might be able to see a bit better.
I don't know. So maybe some people can confirm if the quality is good or bad. If it's much worse than it used to be from other streams, I
Um,
probably will go to university again. But
yeah,
yeah.
Felix, insider trick: close TweetDeck when you work
Oh yeah, good idea. I
with the
just
map
did.
editor.
Yeah, I just did that. Oh yeah,
Yeah, for
that's
some reason, like if you ever work with an application and local host, and it's like a very large application, and you open TweetDeck, it completely annihilates frames.
I think it's not related to localhost at all, but just because our
Really?
editor, no, I'm very sure, yeah. I mean, localhost, I mean, it's just that our map editor is really huge. I think that's a problem. Or
Because I actually know have this problem on multiple sites. Whenever I open TweetDeck,
yeah, I think it's related to TweetDeck because TweetDeck is just a huge consumer power, like
yeah, you're right.
performance
You're
consumer.
right.
That's a problem,
You're
and
right.
it's and then
I
our map
derped.
editor is also very complex, but the localhost, I think, can be delivered from any network. Okay, which room do I open? I think room 4. No, that's just battle. That's boring. Um, I think 3, 2, Bree is I think is pretty interesting. Um, just to give you a quick impression how it works. So we have switches, and switches work pretty simply. Just say whenever you hit the switch, you will essentially toggle a certain variable. And these variables are just defined with a string, and they are local to the current map, at least if you write map dot in front of them. That means this is a variable that's in the scope within that map. So you make sure there's no conflict with other maps.
Oh,
And
something before you continue. Something cool
mm,
about that is we don't have to make a unique variable for every chest. For instance, we can
mm,
just say map chest one.
yeah, exactly. So it's just that's what I
So
mean
beautiful.
with you have one scope per map. That's
Yeah.
something that RPG Maker simply doesn't have. It doesn't have any scope whatsoever, and that's sometimes annoying.
Yep.
So then we have these kind of OL platforms. Are actually, yeah, they're kind of hard to explain because a lot of stuff connected to them. But just quickly trying to explain, you have this kind of object layer, which means we have a tile map, so we can place tiles on a certain layer. But these tiles are never really rendered directly, but implicitly using these kind of entities. So it's like you define an entity, and they just take the graphics from these object layers. And so on these object layers, we just map these kind of movable blocks, and then these entities just link to these layers, take the graphics and display them as regular entities, just to make sure that they're placed in the correct way and the entity is in front of it or behind it, and I don't know. So that's something you can do with object layer views. And these object layer platforms, and they also have the option to move themselves to some places, and you can just define this via several states. The first states just say, yeah, like 48 pixels to the left, so it's essentially hidden inside the wall. And if map toggle switch is not active, so this one is true when it's active, but if it's not active, you just go back to the regular position, so there's no offset. That means it's exactly as you can see it on the map here. And you also take the graphics from a different object layer. That's something you can define here. So that makes sure that this one is green or is like glowing red, while this one is just not glowing. So that's just some things you can define here to give an example. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can explain here. You probably will not get a very good picture what we can do with entities, and but it's kind of very use case. They're designed very much with use cases in mind. So that's how we work. I think that's
Yep.
that's that's the essence of it. And otherwise, we will probably have more streams in the future where we work with entities, and you can get an impression how things exactly work.
Like today.
Like today, yeah, that's actually, but it will be pretty simple today, I think. All right, yeah, that's essentially. I think that have been all the watcher per questions, unless somebody just submitted a question at the last minute. That sometimes happens. Nope, not this time. All right, so yes, so I'll work on. I don't want to open Twitter. Let me just open the map. I just closed the map editor and I open it again. That's great.
Question: why did you make this a web program?
No,
Lord Mastodon asks.
I probably don't have to show
I
the
know what you can
JavaScript.
do. Just show the picture.
The Java, but it doesn't explain everything. He already knows this JavaScript, but I will just
But
show
it
it anyway.
explains everything.
No, I mean the only reason I did it as a web program was because I really like web technologies. I mean, at the time I started the project, I was and I still am a big fan of web technologies, and that's why I did it. And I think it's a nice technology to work with. It's new and it's pretty much experimental for games because you don't have a lot of games yet based on web technologies, at least not a lot of larger games. And but it's just fun to work with it. I mean, it's a technology that's supported by a lot of companies and developed further and further. It's standardized. It's not just something. It's not just some product that can disappear immediately. It's kind of like a standard that's supported by several parties, and it seems kind of stable. Um, and it's just nice to work with a language like JavaScript. I mean, I worked with C and C++ on Java. Didn't work with C Sharp. I heard a lot of good things about it, but still, JavaScript, I think it's pretty nice. I really like to work with it. So it's
Yeah,
100% JavaScript.
definitely.
Here you have the picture. Uh,
Uh,
and that's really pretty much probably the major reason. I just really like working with JavaScript. As strange as it sounds, I know a lot of people hate this language. I love it. So that's probably the major reason why oh, this is a web program.
yeah, but also, just imagine the workload we had to take if we did this in Java. I no. Like there's just what I let me summarize this. All right? No.
Yeah, like Java, like it's very verbose, and I know, but a lot of things probably will work nice in Java. Like you have very type secure code, more or less, but I think other languages are actually better with that anyway. I hear it at
I
least.
mean, especially for web develop for a program that we only use more or less. Like we can hack something in, although our editors are
Hmm.
extremely flexible and extremely extensible. You could hack something in very easily. In Java, not so much. It's very difficult to just hack something in because the language basically is about not hacking something in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like you can, of course, you can use reflection to like simulate what you can do with JavaScript, or use type insecure. So right, you can just don't assign a type to,
Yep, yep.
but then Java basically tells you all the time to use them.
Yeah, I kind of like this.
That's for me. Like I really started to hate this in university.
Mm.
Especially when I started using JavaScript, I noticed how long it took me to write something in Java or C Sharp. I used C Sharp
Mm.
to create both games and or well, one game to create game and applications. And I thought, although the language is not as verbose as Java, it's still tedious.
Mm.
Yeah,
Which one was it again?
C Sharp.
C Sharp. Okay. Okay.
It like for UI development, it has like a tool,
Mhm.
so you don't have to write code for it.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I like HTML, so
Yeah. I think HTML is
and
awesome to
CSS.
some
Like I
extent.
really love CSS is the bomb.
CSS is something that you hate, but once you kind of accept all the limitations, it becomes awesome.
What limitations?
Oh, there
I
are
don't know
plenty of
them.
limitations. Ever try to center something a vertical direction in CSS? It's a pain.
Well, you can do it.
Yes, you can, but it's not easy and not sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't work that well. Especially if something with dynamic height. Try to center a
Yeah,
div
dynamic height.
with
Well, at
dynamic
least if
height.
you always set a height, it
Well,
should always
actually
work.
now it works because you have this
Yeah.
calculate property. Huh. That actually changes a lot of things. I mean, yeah, anyway, so it has its downsides, but overall I think I enjoy working with this kind of technology.
Oh, just something because I read it in chat. We don't. I think we both don't hate on Java. Like we still accept that Java is probably pretty good for network applications, right?
Yeah.
For scalable systems that need to be secure and stable all the time. But that's not the case for games.
I think
Games are something like you do it once and it's done. They don't need to scale that much.
depends if you do an engine and how you work. I think, in my opinion, it's more like a question of taste because this is our discussion: what's better, a dynamic or statically typed language? And I think it's more like how you like to work. And I can see that a lot of people like static type languages. They have their advantages. I just don't like them, and I prefer working with dynamically typed languages, and that's pretty much it. I mean, a lot of all AAA games are still written in C++, which is probably not because it's a great language, but mostly because that's just the language that's available, and which is like optimized enough where you have enough control over the hardware. But it's pretty much statically typed, at least it tries to be, and so I wouldn't say that statically typed languages are not for games, because I think most games are actually still written in
No, no, no. That's
statically
not
typed
what I wanted to
languages.
say.
Yeah, and Java, but
Because
Java's like
yeah. Sorry.
yeah,
Go ahead.
Java is pretty much like it is statically typed, but it's not really made for games in the sense that it's not even very. It doesn't provide you the low-level control. It's garbage collected and all that. And I mean, so is JavaScript. But I think JavaScript, in compared to Java, at least is fun to use. Let's say it like this. So it is garbage collected. It's you don't know how things work exactly. It's pretty horrible to optimize, but it's fun to work with compared to Java. That's my stand, pretty much. So if I would use Java, I would probably still rather use C++ for games. Really, that's
Yeah, I agree.
something like
Like
this.
I did games in Java. I should know.
Yeah,
There are tools that will help you, but I still didn't. I like to play around with stuff, but I didn't like making something bigger because the
right.
code just bloated so fast.
Okay, the
There
Hilo
was so
said
much bloat code.
the Hilo makes a very important comment here. He came for map making, and we just discussed programming stuff. So maybe we should start doing some actual mapping
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So let's work on the new map here. We've still got some time.
Lots of waterfalls.
Yeah, so that's a new map here. Just a quick word on that. This is not finished. As you can see, I mean, there's no trees, no plants or anything like this. It's like pretty bare boned. It's just essentially just a just a cliff structure and water and waterfalls. But I can still, it doesn't stop me from just testing this map now. Let's see if that works. How to start the game. And okay, why is it? I don't know. Sometimes just German. Okay, teleport. Pass number 6. Here we go. So,
I can actually choose the quality this time.
the quality of the stream.
Yeah.
I thought that was only for like partners. Oh, what's this? Oh, I just messed something
Well,
up
I
here.
can choose it. So,
That's
can
cool.
anyone else choose the quality?
So, I mean, just that something. So as you can see, we have the cliffs here, and of course, I plan to implement some kind of jumping puzzle here, which will be around those waterfalls. So you have like a jump pass down here, and then another one up here. And we will just try to implement this now using several properties. It will involve 2 switches and a lot of these jump panels. So the first thing I'm going to do is just place the jump panels and just activate them. And later on I will make some of these jump panels disabled. So you have to first hit a switch to activate them. And that's what will make this puzzle more interesting, hopefully. Let me just switch back to monitor. Okay.
Apparently, all the users can change the quality.
Oh, that's cool. So maybe that just
I don't know
changed that.
why, but you can do that now.
Cool.
It's for partners and larger streams.
Are we now? Do we
So
now
it
count
seems
as?
apparently we are.
Okay, that's cool. I guess. Awesome.
Yeah. Also, Felix, don't forget if you creating these cliff and it's something you can jump up. Remember that we also have like in between cliffs, like the 16, like one tile
Yeah,
height.
but I don't want to use them. They're too much work.
Too much work.
You can add them maybe if you want to, but I don't. I love my jump panels. They're simple. For now.
Should the first one be inactive too,
Um,
or is this one always active?
this one should no. This one is just map graphics. This one will always be
No,
active.
this will always be on. All right.
Yeah. So this
Because
one
if you
will be.
use an inactive one, you have to use different graphics.
I know. Yeah.
All right.
So let's take the jump panel. So I think using the right graphics is more or less something you can do later on in the worst case. So that's 4. Oh, yeah, actually have 6 now already. That's good. I actually was thinking of having an 8 one here, but maybe I can add this one later, but just to 1 to
Oh
4.
yeah, I added 6 a couple days ago.
You know what? I would just add an 8 one because that would be awesome having one that
Yeah, I mean it's not
makes
really a
you
problem.
just have to try out some values.
I think I just needed 6 or something. I don't know.
Okay, so that one we got. That's the first one that will teleport you up on this platform. I'm gonna place another one up here, like this, and it doesn't work because, yeah, no, because I just placed it in the wrong position. Let me just fix that. Like this, that's proper. Okay. So this one will actually be deactivated. That's the whole
Oh.
point here. Let me just change the graphics. Then you first have to activate this one. Actually, I think I might adapt these graphics to. They're still too bright here. They have to be darker, so you can actually see they're deactivated. Anyway, that's polishing. So
I just changed the blue pixels. So
yeah,
I thought always like probably you want to change something about it. Also, but you have to think about that if you add an object layer above that, and say it should be hidden, it's not really hidden. It's a little bit transparent, so it still is a little bit blue.
is it?
It is. Sure it is.
Oh, oh, I know what. Oh crap! Really? Yeah, we have this. But maybe we should just add another option to actually fully hide one of these.
Yeah, maybe just add a spawn condition.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah, exactly. We should just add a spawn condition for these kind of properties. Yeah. Okay, so here we got the jump headers, but these now actually have a condition, which I probably should have added first before copied the entity. So I will just call this one map upper switch. So these jump handles are only active if map upper switch is set to true. And just copy this now. Here we go. And oh yeah, the jump height. Okay, let me just add the jump panel height for the height of 8. Now the big question is, what's the right effect duration and jump speed? That's actually pretty hard to. Well, it's not straightforward to get the right value here. Like, see here, the difference is like 100 and then 70 here, 70. Here it's again 70. Okay, that's. Did you actually check if that works perfectly? I think just adding 70.
It looked good, yes.
Okay, I would just add 70 again and see. We'll see how it works. And you added just 10 seconds again, 55. We'll see. Wow, it's just polishing anyway. And the height is, what's 8 times 16? 8 times 16. That's like
It's Felix, really?
8 times.
It's 700.
What?
It's because you just it's just 350 times 2.
Times 4, I mean. It's
No,
128. Like
no.
this.
I look at the 4, right? Which has a 350
Wait,
set.
wait.
The height.
Hey, wait,
the height. But,
here. This is not correct.
so
here.
it's 128.
Stefan, this is not correct here. It's not 80. It's 96. I hope. Yeah, it is because.
What? I didn't change anything there. What do you mean?
I mean, I thought you added the 6 here. This is not 80. It's 96. Because it's you add 32 every time, so it's about 64 plus 32 means 96. That's the extra height in pixels. It's just, yeah, whatever.
I used it for 5, right?
You used it for 5.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure, yeah.
So this is actually 5 here, you say?
So let me check. I think that Henne actually used this
Okay.
in his map.
That's a
2.
problem because it should be renamed to 5 then, not 6. Or maybe it is 6, but it's used for 5. That probably will work too.
Yeah, let me
Yeah,
check.
whatever. I will just now take this and
So yeah, this are 6 tiles and it works.
yeah. So it's probably 6, it's not 5. I think.
But why does it work with the
No, the height.
height?
That's because the height is actually not really used to determine the jump height. It's just set velocity. I'm not sure what height is used for exactly. It's something. Yeah, it has something to do with when you make the player jump. You can optionally provide how high you will jump because that's something that was supposed to make sure that you cannot throw the balls higher than their jump height. But for some reason it doesn't work because let's players, speedrunners, are actually making use of the fact that you can throw the ball higher when you jump, which is weird. But anyway, so yeah, it's not important. Not all that important. Anyway, so I added this. Now I can edit here. So that's what we very often do. We just go to the program, go to our code, modify some entities, go back to the editor, reload everything, and then it just have new properties, new options, and all that. Okay. So now I would just hide some switch up here next, which is a one-time switch, which is probably something we're gonna change later on. Because yeah, when it comes to switches, they're actually pretty much improvised for the outside areas in general. Let me just check the height.
Yeah, they're completely misused. The same goes for the autumn area.
Yeah.
Where I simply added them because we didn't have anything else.
Yeah. So there's a certain logic to CrossCode which we cannot try to fulfill, and that is that in dungeons you're by yourself, so it's instanced. But outside areas you share with other players. So when you hit a switch, like most puzzle elements you interact with, they're actually instanced for each player individually. So that means one switch has to be hit for each player again. And so that means we want to visualize them in a certain way to make sure this is actually communicated. That means essentially that all the switches and outside areas must be holograms. So that's the rough idea. So
kind of like the chests.
Kind of like the chest. The chest already we do this. So you know the chest they look kind of like transparent, bluish, and that means they are actually instanced for each player. You want to do the same for switches. For the jump panels, I think it already kind of works because they're just there and they're just glowing or not glowing. You can explain they're just glowing for certain players because the glowing effect is actually a hologram. So things explained. But for switches, it's kind of like different. They could look very physical here right now, but they're not supposed to be. They should be more like a hologram. So that's something we're going to change if you get around doing this. But up to this, until then, it's just decorative stuff, really. I mean, it will work exactly the same way. And now I just added the switch and said that it should switch, set the variable map upper switch to true. And when this happens, those things here will activate. Usually you should implement some nice cutscene to show this, but I don't think I will do this in the stream right now, maybe later. I'm just gonna test this now. Gonna test this in the Not WebKit application again. That was wrong. No, what was this? I don't want to open Canary. So, okay, gonna switch to the game. Please, somebody pay attention that I don't forget to switch back to the monitor after I tested the game, because I tend to do that. So
Currently, we're all seeing the game, so
yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, teleport to pass 6. So here we have the first jump pen. It should just work, hopefully. It does, yep. And here we got our new jump panel. It does not work because it's not activated. Now I'm going to use a debug feature which will never be available in the official release, which is the jetpack. I'm sorry, guys. Never going to have the jetpack. So activate the switch. Now you see, oh, these jump panels down here, oops, they actually started glowing. So I'm just going to jump down here and see if we got the right height. Ding! Oh yeah, that's awesome. Okay, it works. So we just implemented new jump panels that are activated with a certain switch. So the whole idea is for this map that you start from the map to the west, east I mean, and then you just end up from this spot. So you just enter the map from this spot. You go to this area, you hit the switch, and once you did, you can get up to this platform without going through the map to the east. So you essentially have a shortcut activated. That's the idea. We already do this in some other maps already in Bergen Trail. We might add these kind of things to maybe to Autumn Rise too, though we don't have jump panels there, right? Anyway, so that was the first step for our puzzle. Now the next step is, so far it's very simple. The goal that you want to reach for this puzzle is actually this point here. It's very nice. I'm just gonna place a treasure chest here, so everybody can see this treasure chest, but you don't know how to get there initially. We just like to do that just to tease players. And to get here, you have to essentially walk. Oh, I have to improve the snow here. You have to come from this way. Right now it's simple. You can just have to get to this upper platform, and you can just jump over there. But what I'm going to do now is remove this pillar, because this pillar is making things way too easy. So I'm going to switch back to monitor. Okay. I just do this with our nice height map feature. Down here it is. Remove it. Re-render. And things are broken. That happens. No problem. Just gonna remove that. Did some tricks here to make the waterfalls work. But anyway, so you see it's removed. There's some decorative stuff that I have to remove myself. And now the pillar is gone. Now we have a problem. So now we cannot jump over this place. That kind of sucks. What we can add now is a laser bridge. Let me just do this. We already have the tiles. I actually hope these tiles will work. I think they should. So the idea is I would just create a very small laser bridge, which won't have any of these elaborate. I can't speak today. Sorry. These complex borders, railings. It won't have any of these railings objects. It's just flat. And I see that the tiles are actually not perfectly matching here. As you can see, there's this dark spot here. Let's just say we're gonna fix this somehow later. Anyway, so I'm gonna add the same one on the other side. And now I'm gonna add a property that actually is the razor bridge thing. It's a scalable property. That one was defined in the Autumn Rise sheet. It's laser bridge horizontal. Here we go. Have to switch the right level. Here we go. So yeah, so our engine actually implements properties that can be scaled like this, which is really usable. Very usable. Like something. It's cool. Gonna define the same for the bottom. So there are actually 3 types of these kind of properties. Like this. Okay, something is weird. Let me just check what is the top one. Oh, this one is really... Oh, I see the problem here. Okay, I see I probably have to add some new graphics to make this work. Something needs to be added here. A few tiles, that should be no problem though. I could just add the ratings, but they kind of seem too large for this kind of thing. Maybe, you know what, I'm just gonna add the graphics right now. It shouldn't be much work. So I'm also gonna do some spriting today, it seems. Doop-de-doop. That is if my graphics tablet would work, which it does not.
I also seen that the graphics below the bridge are actually missing. Like in Autumn area, there was the small graphic, like this.
Are you sure?
Which?
Yeah, look at this one.
This
one is actually. So? I think actually I added those. They're
Well,
not
I
they're not
can
ending in the
check.
water. That's the difference, because there's no water usually below the bridges, but you can still use these kind of graphics to make a connection to the wall.
Yeah, but we didn't use them in path 2.
Yeah, because I forgot. That's all.
Ah, all right.
Actually, I see if I want to do it right, it has to go over here one because it looks better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh god damn it! So now they're actually too close again, and you can actually simply jump over. That kind of sucks. What am I gonna do? I just have to move some cliffs here. So this one is too close. I have to make the distance higher. Let's just do this. Here a bit further. Let's just make 2 to be sure. So like this, like this, like this, like this, and this, and this, and generate. Now everything will probably look kind of broken. Looks still okay-ish. Good. Just gonna extend this waterfall here. It's actually composed out of 3 parts. Gotta delete those layers because nobody wants those. I mean those tiles, not layers. We're not gonna delete layers. So actually that's wrong. Okay. Right. So now we got enough distance. Maybe, yeah, this one is not looking too good. Just like this. Yeah, it looks better. Okay. So now this is enough distance, I think. Obviously, speedrunners will find a way to jump over this, but I don't care. They can just cheat whatever, however they like. So
So
and
walking
look,
across light bridge is harder than jumping across the. Well, the bridge won't be. Felix,
mhm.
yeah, you didn't mention that the bridge won't be there all the
Yeah,
time.
that's something that will come next. So the idea is that up to this point, bridges have all been there constantly, but this one actually won't be. It will not be available unless you hit a certain switch, and then it will appear a certain amount of time. That's the whole idea. And before we do this, I just want to get this bridge right. So it's actually all I have to do now is add a couple of tiles. Yeah, it's not very. You know, actually my graphics tablet's still not working, it seems. But never mind, I don't need a graphics tablet for this. Actually, I think that's already almost enough. I don't need much more than this here. Interestingly. Yeah. I will just use this tile now and this will roughly work. I might... Oh, you know what? I will just add 2 more tiles to make this more complete.
Speedrunners allowed to break the game as they see fit. There will also be an achievement dedicated to speedrunners.
Oh yeah?
There will be for sure.
Makes sense.
Actually, right now it's currently ending. So ESA was held this week, the European Speedrun Assembly,
Okay.
which is kind of the same like AGDQ or SGDQ, a
Mm-hmm.
charity marathon where people come together and speedrun game for a good cause.
Oh, that's cool.
And it would be awesome if at some point people would play CrossCode there.
That would be very nice, yeah. So, okay, just edit those tiles. You actually don't even need to reload the map editor for new tiles. You just have to click reload images, which kind of works, but not entirely. But at least the tile set is updated, and if I now actually place the tiles, it will work. Yeah, Yeah, something is not looking good. The white line is not, doesn't make sense. Gotta remove that. And actually, I'm just gonna move the whole thing 1 pixel down. I think that's better. That's now here's the reload images doesn't work in the way that it does not really update the display inside the map for because it's a bug. Yeah. So
Actually, Shano, there is a failsafe. Whenever you get stuck, you could just save the game and reload, which always teleports you back to the map, to the start of the map, specifically the place you entered.
yep. Just gonna add something here to make it more consistent. Yeah, it's kinda, I don't know, maybe might work over this a bit because it's kind of like you have this small stone here.
Yeah, Lessa makes a good point. If the switch is in throwing range from the bridge, it's not really hard.
Yeah, but it won't be.
Right? Yeah.
It won't be. You will see. You will
Definitely,
see.
like we're good at designing puzzles. At least we try to.
We hope.
So
I mean, we at least know. We already know what puzzles work and which don't. So obviously, just placing a switch on the same level
next
as a
to
bridge,
a door.
next to a door, it's essentially like placing a switch right next to a door. So if you just place it on this level, it's a problem. So this switch is actually not for the bridge; it's for the jump panel. Now, activating the switch makes it possible for you to hit a switch on the lower level but still reach the bridge on the upper level, so you probably know where I will place the switch now. It will be on the lower level, yeah. Okay, so let's just see if that kind of works. There's current map. Oh yeah, probably shouldn't do this in the browser. Yeah.
So this is very, very good representation of work we do when we create maps. We test the map over and over again, creating graphics when we need them.
Yeah, yep. That's how we work essentially. So I just cheated my way up here. So you see, bridge is working. That's great. Whoa, what was this? Oh, it's not entirely working. You see? Why is this? I think I just fell through here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it makes sense. I don't.
You could move the marker a little bit.
No, it's just as simple as just adding something to the collision here. That's enough. I just make those here.
No, I mean the marker. You could place the marker more close to the bridge so you can test it more quick when you reload the map.
Oh, good idea. I will do that.
There's always something good about the system we have. If we change something in the map, we don't need to reload the whole game, just the map.
Well, that's true, but I still always reload the whole game because I work in the browser. Actually, so like Stefan's more used to.
You can do the same in the browser.
Yeah, but the game starts so quick. It's not a big deal in my opinion. So, at least for me. So, but yeah, he's right. I can just okay, let's teleport, and now I'm here. See, so now everything is working, more or less. Now I know why it's messed up, because usually we have entities here which move the player up, and I'll actually add those instead of. Yeah, I can just keep those, but let me just go to pass 2 and copy those here. Yeah, map loading kind of takes long these days. I don't know if we can actually optimize this. Would be nice if we could. So, perfect. Wrong level. I hate this. Yeah, working with multiple levels makes it just inherently harder to create maps, but we have a couple of tools added to make it more or less feasible, and it just helps a huge deal that the entities are visualized how they're displayed in the game more or less. So when you place an entity a level too low, you will usually see it because the entity won't be visible. That helps, but it doesn't protect you from placing entities too high up, so this sometimes happens.
If someone manages to enter a map earlier than they should, you can progress nor get back. I actually, I feel like you need to switch back to the map editor. Um,
Mm-hmm.
um, Actually, you shouldn't be able in CrossCode to just go into the map. You shouldn't be there if we have that kind of limitation in some maps. So if there's some way to glitch yourself to a place you shouldn't be, you
Mm-hmm.
glitched yourself there, and it's basically like if you glitched yourself there, then we probably will fix that, but we can't fix all of them. And I think it's somehow funny if people find these weird glitches. Obviously, if there's something like when you like this soft lock when you level up and talk to a trader, there's a soft lock, and
Mm.
that's something that shouldn't happen, of course,
Oh
and
my
that
gosh,
needs to be
I
fixed.
forgot to switch to the monitor. I think somebody told me, I just
I
forgot.
just told you.
Yeah, I didn't listen. That's how it is. And now
Switch to the map editor.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not very good at listening. So, yeah.
Concentrate.
So
This.
I did some fine tuning because those entities here were on the wrong height because they don't have to be exactly on the 7th level, but they actually have to be 4 pixels higher to have the right collision. Yeah, I mean, laser bridges are kind of complicated, but once you get a hang to it, it's okay. So I will not even switch now. So you see it works. Laser bridges there, awesome. Okay, next I'm gonna add, now comes the big twist. I'm gonna add a spawn condition. I will call this one map.bridge. Most original variable name ever. Okay, gonna add this one here too. And here too. And here we go. So that means now this bridge will not be there if I reload the map. It should, at least that's how it should be. Let's see if that's actually the case. I just closed the game. I'm stupid.
Um, Chat Noir also says it is that maybe we have a teleport to a town or something where you shouldn't be. That won't be the case. So especially for a teleport system, it will work like this: you go into a map or to a specific part of the map, and a new spawn point will be activated. And
Jump cancel
this
also
is
doesn't work. At least I can't do it, but maybe I'm just too bad. So okay, I just added the bridge, and I made it hidden, so that works. You can continue.
we just need to come up with a logical explanation why. Actually, no, we don't. We could just put this in there, and this switch that activates the bridge, this one can be physical. That doesn't need to be a hologram
Yeah,
because this is
exactly.
true for every player.
That's true, but it still will be a hologram because, of course, holograms can also be synchronized among players. You just don't know.
True.
I just
But
make
just
them
like
hologram.
I imagine those like Guild Wars puzzles where you just did the puzzle with someone else,
Yeah.
and it became much easier.
No.
And the
Yeah.
same is a thing here, and I think that's okay for
Yeah.
people to
That's fine, I
like help
guess.
each other out in that way.
Though, unfortunately, you don't have any friends in CrossCode, so that means you won't be able
That's
to.
not true. Don't have to be friends.
But let's see, no friends who can help you do that. So when I now hit the switch, oh my gosh, it's here. There's no effect and everything. That's something you can add later. So that's nice, I guess. We now have a switch that appears when you hit a switch. Sorry, you have a bridge that appears when you hit a switch. But that's pretty boring. Let's add a time limit. So actually, what I would like to do is um, have a switch which goes back to the default value. I mean, we have this kind of time switches, but I'm not sure they're gonna work for this. Stefan.
What we need is this kind of switch that has the same kind of Zelda thingy, right? So
Yeah.
you throw at it, and you have a limited amount of time to fulfill whatever you want to do. And I'm really not sure. Like you can try to make it work with the group switches, but I'm not sure if it works.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna add some script now for now, but we probably will add in a special switch for this later. You can do a lot of tricks with trig events, and that's how we
Yeah.
essentially hack
I
some
think
things in CrossCode.
Yeah, even the switch entity, the one-time switch, isn't really a good switch entity
Maybe we can
because
extend it.
well, for that you can actually use a group switch because it spins around instead of going into the ground. It spins around,
Yeah, but
and
I kind of like want to have one switch that behaves like a regular switch, but it will just go up again when it's done. Actually, maybe I will even add some new graphics for this one, but I'm not sure because this switch doesn't even have proper graphics for going up again. I'm not even sure how it will behave um, when this will be set to false again. Maybe it will not even react properly. Then we need to fix something. We will see. Anyway, so let's say the event condition here is that also our switch map bridge is true. When this one is true, the event is started. And this one will not be a cutscene. It will trigger always, yes. The event will just be a short wait time, which will be, yeah, that's something we have to balance. Let's say 5 seconds. And then I will just set the switch off again. I mean the bool variable. Switch is something you say in RPG Maker. I'm still used to that. Okay, set this one to false. Done. Save. And I just want to see if that actually works, because I'm not sure. Then I might need to fix the entity very quick. Oh my gosh. Why is the bridge there? The bridge should... Whoa. Okay, something's messed up already. Map bridge is true. Map bridge is a start condition. Set it to false. Whoa. Oh, I know why. Okay, this is weird. I know why it, Stefan.
what did you do?
I just teleported back to the map, but this won't reset the map variables.
Oh yeah, you need to use temp for that.
Yeah. Actually, I probably should use temp. That's probably...
Yeah, you should use temp for those kind of temporary
You're
things.
right, actually, otherwise it might also break. So... Yeah, temp variables are just reset whenever you enter a map. And since the whole bridge is just there for a short time, that's the right type of variable to use here. To use this for all these entities too. Save. But I already saw that it will not work, in fact, so I have to probably do some coding again. There was this one guy who always wanted to see some coding, so he would be happy now, I guess. So anyway, because I already saw it's not working, I would just go in programming mode now very quick, but it's actually very simple. The one-time switch just has to do one thing. It has to listen to variable changes. Was change... Yeah.
Yeah, I probably think you're talking to yourself right now, right?
Yeah, I'm just talking.
Yeah, all right. So,
Why?
Vijija, are there asks if there are more variables than map and temp? For sure, like you can use any string. The map and temp are just like predefined ones we use and identify them.
Yep.
So we can do certain things with them. So every map variable is saved, and every temp variable is cleared after you change the maps and so on. But you can make global variables anytime. Like we use them all the time. So, this is basically how we progress the story.
Exactly.
In certain parts where we just say, all right, we have this progress and we increase it, and we have certain variables that are important to the progress of the story.
Okay, I actually just copied some code fragment from Switch, which works surprisingly well. I think I almost did it. But let me just check. It's on and off. So this one is actually switch on. This one is switch off. And what is going on here? I'm just gonna delete this. I'm not sure. That should be all I need.
How much of the narrative story is written for CrossCode? The basic rough sketch is completely done so far. But the implementation is something we go at every time we talk about new areas and everything. But the basic path is done.
Yep. So we know how the story evolves and we know how it ends and basic plot points are we
We know
know, but
everything. We know
but
exactly what happens.
yeah, but we probably need to maybe add some stuff here and change some things here and there and uh, to just have to see if the whole tension curve works well enough. Actually.
Yeah, yeah. It's important to keep up with um, not being too boring.
Hmm.
I still hold Kingdom Hearts 2 as like the best example. Like they really did a good job with all these mini games,
But pacing
which
wise,
really helped.
I think Kingdom Hearts 2 had not the best beginning for a
Yeah,
game
the
because the
second half, but
beginning,
the first half was really good.
I mean, the very beginning was pretty boring. I thought.
You mean with Roxas?
Yeah,
Actually, you
that
follow
was.
how long do you normally take this? Because I usually just take maybe half an hour for that.
Yeah, but no, like the story of CrossCode is half an hour, and much more stuff is happening there. I think.
That's true.
So whatever. Teleport past 6. Okay,
Yes,
let's.
I mean previous. So there are map temp. Yeah, globals. Globals are just anything else that's not map and temp. I think there's something else. Let me check.
And it's whoa. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's something. It's not working because of some thing I forgot because it's kind of embarrassing. Not embarrassing, but
Oh yeah. Oh. There's also maps, which stores every map and every variable. There's a session, which can be cleared when we want to. I think,
oh
right?
yeah,
Like,
there's a session.
if,
I mean, did you tell them about Did you tell them about?
oh yeah, they also var accessors. You're
Ooh.
probably talking about them. So we can kind of plug in certain keywords. Like, for instance, when we
Yeah,
check
yeah,
if you have a
exactly.
certain amount of items, we can plug in a item accessor which writes a variable with an item ID. It's currently a little bit hard to implement because we have to know the ID of the specific item, but we can solve all our conditions with our already existing condition system. So we don't need to check if you have an item, adding a new event step for that. We just use our existing condition system and insert a variable for that.
Yep.
And that can be done for anything, basically. So also if you have a certain equipment equipped, something like that.
Yep. 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 Okay. So I just modified the switch in another way to hopefully make it work. Just I think now I can reload. No, I have to. Of course, I have to restart the game because I changed the game code. Too bad.
Are we German? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are the Germans.
The Germans.
You. Okay. Here we go. So,
So no sequence breaks. I'm not sure if we really have every sequence sequenced, so to speak. I think there's some parts of the game where if you teleport there, then the progress will just continue.
mhm.
But things might get wonky if you return to another part of the game. Just like every game. I think it's just like optimizing, not optimizing, but
All
yeah.
right.
Oh, I see it works.
So okay, so yeah, it kind of works now. Now I'm just gonna demonstrate how this puzzle is supposed to work. So imagine you get to this point here, just entering from the east. You go up here, you find a switch. You're just gonna activate this, and now these jump handles are activated. So from now on, you can jump up here. That's awesome. And now you get to this bridge, you see, okay, this bridge is not activated, I cannot simply jump over it. But down here is the switch, you can jump here and you can activate it. And then you can see how the bridge is activated, and then it will just disappear again. And there's so many ways how this is right now a bad idea, because yes, actually no way the player knows that the bridge will disappear. That's why we really need a special switch which gives you a signal that this switch will gonna deactivate again.
It should like go like this.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole idea is you activate the bridge, you go over here, and then it's gone. And then you try it again and see if 5 seconds are actually enough, which I highly doubt.
5 seconds are like, holy shit, man.
Oh no, no way. Okay, gonna increase that value. So let's see. Let's make this one. I think 8 seconds should be okay.
Ding ding ding
Yeah,
ding
I just
ding
okay.
ding 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 ding.
I didn't show this yet, but I just will change the time value. So let's just reload the map. I first have to activate. Oh, this one is actually still activated. Okay, that's convenient. Cool. So now it's actually cool that it saves the variables. Go. Anyway, hit the switch.
That should be a map variable.
Yeah, it is. So okay, and yes. Okay, that's good timing, I think. Maybe you can make it a little bit quicker, make it more challenging.
Doesn't the bridge have some sort of animation when appearing or disappearing? That's something we add later.
Yeah, actually, I can probably add something simple here too. Though I think
it's important that when you test these kinds of things, you don't get caught up in making everything look perfect before you even have a working prototype of the puzzle.
That's the whole idea. So we just start doing things very quickly, kind of see if they work, and once we know they work, we will just start polishing, adding more details, and making nice sequences and whatnot. Both things are important, but you waste a lot of time if you start polishing things and you're not even sure they will work in the first place. Okay, so that's essentially the puzzle I wanted to implement. I think it's at least a bit of a variation from the regular jumping, so it's not just about jumping now, but about jumping quickly. To be here, up here, there, and did it. Yay. Now I just want to see what happens if I keep standing on the bridge when it deactivates. Just want to see if
you mean you want to see what and
yeah, we'll see if I will fall down, in fact. Okay, I was too late. One more time. What? Lair, what you doing? Why can't you just jump? Oh my gosh, this jumping, yeah. Actually, you don't even need to jump, just hit it from here, whatever. Yep. And just gonna stand here, don't...
Maybe you should change a little bit of the...
oh my gosh, look at this, I knew it. Why the hell?
When you jump to the switch, you probably want to make it a little less inconvenient, like with this spike edge, you have sorts of problems jumping from left to right, so...
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I probably should change this.
Oh, so you just stand in the air.
Yeah, I just stand in the air. I kinda was afraid this was gonna happen. Oh my gosh, how am I gonna do this? I think the problem really is that the erase entity functionality, it kinda... Whoa, no, okay, something is not right here. Why can I still stand here even though the entities should be in? Okay, let me just do some debugging, see if there's actually something visualized. No, entities, here we go. There's no collision box, no sprite box. So why the hell can I... What is here? Oh my gosh, okay. So, I'm just gonna do some debugging right now.
Yeah, I think Leia just became Legis.
Yeah, it seems like it.
No, Vegeta, the bridge isn't there anymore. That's for sure.
Just gonna show you how I'm gonna do some debugging now. No, I'm not sure if the bridge is not here, but the weird thing is really that... So, the quality, it has probably a ground entity. or my call data, ground entity, ground entry.
At that point,
It's still
when
there.
an entity disappears, it also disappears from the collision, right? So
It should, yeah. The problem really is that a layer has this kind of ground entity connected. This is some kind of system that an entity remembers that a certain entity is. Oh, I think it's a very simple solution. Look, yeah, okay, you already see the problem here. The player has
so
it
the
has a
ground
call
the,
entity. The ground entity is there, but it's active. It's not active, and the system should just drop the ground entity at this moment. So that's probably how I'm going to solve this. I'm just going to check if the ground entity is in fact not active. Just remove it, please. I mean, it's not supposed to be there. So, but
I'm just
now
trying to think
that's
of some things where this could lead to problems, but I don't think so. No.
I don't think so. I mean, that would never happen. You should never have a quantity that's not active because it doesn't exist when it's not active. Um, so, but now the problem, what really confuses me. So, do I still have a ground entity? No. Do I still have the ground entity? Yes, I do. And what is it? Is it active? Is it not active? It's still active false. So this thing is actually still in the collision map. That should not happen.
So I see. So the entity is gone, but for some reason, it stays
Yeah, I don't know. Let me
in
just
the
let me just
cycle.
check which one it is. So I'm just gonna give
Oh,
this name.
I could imagine that we have no use case until now where we just disabled an entity and had the collision gone. No, we had the destructibles.
Yeah, but they are not. They are like moved in a different way. I mean, it's the first time we really use and also like the walls. You know, like the walls from the intro and Shizuka's intro. Those are actually also the same thing. They're just scalable properties that we hide and appear with this kind of spawn condition. So it really shouldn't happen. I don't
Right,
know.
right.
I'm just gonna restart now. I'm not sure if restarting. So it turns out we have to do some debugging during a dev stream. That's a new one, I think.
It's okay. I think it's a dev stream, so why not debug, huh?
I mean that's what often happens when you implement new puzzles. You usually find some bugs. So it's not in here now. I just activate the switch. I'm gonna fly up here. And
As soon as you would go onto the left side where there is solid ground and go back to the right, is the bridge still there?
if you
Can you,
what?
can you try that?
This view? And yeah, it's still there.
So stand on it. It's still there when you return.
Yeah, it
Although
is.
you on
I know.
different ground, can you move up to the air and let you fall down and then move to the bridge again?
Yeah,
While
it's
it's
still
not there.
there. It's just there. It's just
What the hell?
I know something is there's some essential problem here with the kind of entity map. I know it's interesting. It's reproducible, so it's solvable. I'm not concerned. We will fix this one, but it's kind of annoying. Why does these kind of things still happen? Okay. Wait, now it's still active? Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, of course. Like the call from the player is active. That makes sense. Call data. Now ground entry. Please tell me this one is active.
Ah, the hello. I thought exactly the same. Fix it, Felix.
Yeah. So bridge one. Now the funny thing is, bridge one is still there, but it seems that bridge two is not there, and that's really weird.
Wait, is this depending on where you stand when
Yeah,
you?
I think so. Let me actually test this. So I'm just gonna activate this. I'm just gonna jump up here. If I would manage to do that. Holy shit! Damn it, this height thing is so confusing. Oh gosh, okay, again. So, up here, standing here. So maybe I will just fall down now. If I just stand in the upper region of the bridge. I also don't. Okay. Okay. I get the impression now it just happens for the entity that happens to be the ground entity of the player. Now that's weird. That's weird. Oh my gosh. So
Well,
like
it's a true bug. That shouldn't be the case.
but it's yeah, it is definitely a bug. So that's an interesting use case because it explains why it didn't happen before. It turns out that when you try to hide an entity, but this entity happens to be the ground entity of another entity, it kind of stays kind of sort of in there. And that's the bug. Ah, shit. That's something I'm probably gonna want to debug in the browser. Test current map. So how can you? Maybe I could get this fixed. I think I can get this fixed in this time. If I really know. How do we find this? Detach entity. Here we go. Hmm. Okay, let me just check some other things. And gone. So, game player entity, call data, ground entity, guys. It's just way too hard here. I hate it.
Brain is frying.
Yeah. Is it hidden? Yes, it is. Is there ground entry in cold in collision map? And it is. Okay. So in order for this to happen, so it is hidden. So it should be removed. So what happens somewhere is that I actually add an entity to the collision map. And it's actually hidden while I do this. So that should never happen. So or I think that's what happens. Because let me just check this. So yep. Or actually, so wait a second. I would do it in a different way. Image.js.
ES6. What's ES6?
What is ES6? Oh, come on. These days,
Why don't you have a German keyboard? Because American keyboards are always more awesome
well,
for programmers.
they're much more useful for programming because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
keys, a lot of characters are used for programming are much easier to reach in non-English keyboard. That's why
I
I have it English. And I actually have a custom keyboard that allows you to still write German characters. Like if I press alternative this Alt Shift key and A, I write like this R
ah,
umlaut. And the
all
same
right. I didn't
for
know that.
Ö and Ü, and there's ways to do this in Windows, and it's very useful. You get used to this very quickly. I mean, once you get used to write with an English keyboard, That's the hard part. And once you can do this, and then you can also write these kind of letters very easily. So now I'm just writing with an English keyboard all the time. Anyway, so do I have the freaking game now? I mean, Chrome is starting to really annoy me. Like these days, certain scripts are sometimes not loaded for whatever reason. So I know I just get part of the script files that are connected to the game for whatever reason.
Really? All right,
Yes,
that's working for me completely.
that's weird.
Why don't we use EMCA script 6? Well, why don't we use that? I don't
What
know.
do you
Is it
mean?
so well supported for all browsers?
I
And actually, we
think,
already have a class system and kind of
yeah,
stuff
I
like
don't
that.
know. I
So
mean, yes, actually, there might be a lot of features in ECMAScript 6 that are worse. Um, script path. Oh, you mean like that?
yeah, we have something like that already.
Yeah, the thing is, we use
Can you
impact
show
and
it?
what? What
I
can I
mean, you
show?
could quickly show it. We have kind of the a module package, module requirement
Yeah,
system.
so yeah, that's something we use. We have this kind of we define modules like this, and they just get automatically included. And yeah, you have this kind of modules, and they get automatically loaded when you start the game. It's a system
Mm.
that has been implemented by Impact.js, and we just keep using it, and it works really well for us. Um, Yeah, so of course you have a lot of small script files. That's the downside. The upside
Mm.
is you don't need a compilation step, and I think that's awesome. So you don't need to compile anything. So you don't need any process that keeps compiling on file change in the background because it sometimes
Right.
also breaks. And it it's just you just load it and it works. And for release, we actually have a way to bake all these script files into a single game file as well. So we don't have exactly one single file. We just include some other JavaScript stuff too, but most of the game code is just compressed in one game file. So we can do that.
Hmm.
It's not using the ECMAScript
Um,
6 stuff, but it works well enough for us. So yeah.
yeah. So basically, we actually can you show the index PHP file? We
Can I would just I
actually
would rather just try to solve this bug really.
all right. Go ahead. So we actually have I don't know how much have we. I can just look it up myself. We actually don't have any script tag in our header because our index file is a PHP file, and I have to look up what we actually use. Probably just should look up. Also, yeah.
Okay,
So the
here we
game we
go.
only use the base uh, script file, and everything else is loaded. Oh no! It's the Impact.js has to be loaded, of course, because that's what's loading all the other files.
Okay, let's see what happens here.
So basically, it kind of works a little bit like Require.js, but has this kind of class structure.
Right, so now I did a couple of things. I just stand on top of the bridge, wait until the bridge is hidden, so I set a breakpoint right at the hide entity function. Now this function should be called for exactly 3 entities. And then I set another breakpoint into the defer detach method. This one is executed later on when we actually remove the entities from the map. This is open source. Now Impact.js is not, it is open source once you buy it, so it's not free, but it's open source. I don't know. It's kind of like you have to pay something, you get the code. You may be able to get it somewhere else too, but then it's open source. You can just read everything as most JavaScript. It's not obfuscated, so it's pretty easy to understand.
Mm.
So okay, first entity is hidden. Let me just check which one it is. It's bridge 3. Great. Next one. No, come on, tell me. Chrome, you used to be faster at this. Oh, come on, what the fuck? Give me the name. Bridge 1. Okay, so what's entity do we have? Entity name bridge 2 is actually the one. Okay, and which one is it now? It's bridge 2. So bridge 2 is actually detached. So this should work, right? So we see we got this reach 3 branch entities, and they're all detached, and our detached array should now include 3 entities. Oh wait, I didn't check in. Actually, let me check if it actually includes deferred detach. What happens inside detach entity? Deferred detach. Yeah, that's the one. Let me just check. And yes, now deferred detach includes our 3 bridge entities. They should all be removed. Now let's see if that happens. Here we go. We get some add to call map, which is what entity do we try to add right now? Please tell me. Bridge 2 is added. Okay.
What?
Somewhere we already tried to add this thing to the call map. It happens in the physics because, oh yeah, this is actually still updated. Okay, that's... Wait. So which one is now? Bridge 1, 2. They're all added? Yeah, because they're updated. Okay, we might actually get a lot of entities. Whew, okay, we cannot really set this breakpoint here. This kind of sucks, even though I can make a condition. I can say call entry. Please only call this one if the entity here is actually bridge 2, because I know that's the entity that should be added some point. Yeah, it's exactly this one. So that should work. And it is in fact called for wait a second. So what is this entity's name? Bridge 2. Okay, why do we keep updating? Stop updating. God damn it. I want you to hide this entity. Not update. Stop adding it to the call map. You know what? I'm just gonna edit this and add this down here because this function is probably called way too often anyway. Yeah, this is better. Okay, so now we end the deferred detach. Probably should check why this method is called so often. That's probably might be a bottleneck. So entity is removed. Yes. What was the name of the entity? It's bridge,
Bridge
3.
2.
No, bridge 3.
Bridge 3.
So yeah, now it should be bridge 2 or bridge 1. Let's see. It's actually bridge 1. They just really make it exciting. It's true, but now
Yeah,
it's
you can sell a commercial game
false.
even though the source can, the code can be open source.
Sure. I mean, as long as the license is okay with it.
Yeah. Just it's still your intellectual property. So I think in Germany we have a default law for that, right? So whenever you create something, it's yours.
Okay, so look, now it happens. Entity name is bridge 2. It's not in the collision map. So if I now check if the player, it's still bridge 2, and the ground entity is in collision map. If I ask this, it's actually false. So at some point this entity must be added. So let's continue. Now comes the exciting part. I get it. Yes. Here's the core entry. Core entry name entity name is bridge 2. So here we get the answer. Why is this added? It's in move
Why
entity.
is it added?
Yeah. Wait.
So you develop games without writing test? Well, we're already testing.
Yeah, we don't use unit tests. I think a lot.
The question was I didn't.
I think it was about unit tests.
I completely interpreted this differently.
Yeah, we don't.
Like, we don't
write.
use any unit tests.
No, it worked out well so far for us.
Yep.
I mean, the thing about unit tests is if you really try to write a very robust engine that must work in all cases, it might probably make sense, but we want to create a game first and not the most robust engine. So we just design the engine good enough to work with our game. That's why. And yeah, of course, we get regression errors sometimes, but we actually don't get a lot of regression errors. I don't think so. So, and
No, not
because
not that I know
the,
about.
the whole thing about unit tests is to make sure you don't get regression errors. I mean, that's essentially it. That's pretty much why you implement unit tests. You want to avoid regression errors. You want to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that things that used to work will not break later on. And since I don't think we get a lot of regression errors so far in our 3 years development, I don't really think unit tests would help us a lot. So nope.
And even better, the bug reports we get are actually they're numerous. Like we get a lot of them, which is
Hmm.
good. Like people are interested in making the game better and trying to help. But most of the issues are the same. So although we get a lot of reports, the bug itself is always the same. Like
Mm.
for instance, we get a lot of bug reports about the problem that if you reset your key bindings in the baked version of the game, for some reason it throws an error. I actually tried this, and I haven't had the time to look into it because I had to make maps, but I should do it for point 3, version 0.3. Probably some. It's like it's always hard to debug problems that only happen in the baked version of the game. At
I
least
got
you
it,
have.
guys. I got
You
it.
got it?
I got it. I got it. Look at this. It's very
Wait,
simple.
wait, 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 wait. Give me a little bit of time.
Okay,
I need
so
to catch up.
the thing is, the player still had the ground entity after it has been removed. But then there's this whole thing that when I update an entity, I make sure that the ground entity is updated before that. That's important because I must use the movement data of this entity in case it moves. So what happens
Mm-hmm.
is the ground entity, which is a bridge, it has been removed, and then the player gets updated and it sees, oh, there's this ground entity, and it doesn't even check if it's still active or not. It just says, oh, there's this ground entity, and now I'm gonna update this ground entity to make sure it's updated correctly. And then it turns out, whoops, it's not active.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then it just gets added into the collision map again, and then the problems start. So that's actually a very simple solution for that. And that is, I just have to check that if I update a call entry, is it actually active? I think that would be the simplest solution, because if I'm right, no, it's underscore active, I think, isn't it? Yes, look, I'm updating a call entry that's actually not active. So that should not be the case. Never. I don't think you ever update a call entries which are not active. Let me just check this.
No,
Yes.
it shouldn't. It shouldn't. There should. Although, no, you shouldn't.
No. I mean, if you remove a call entry,
It
it's
could be
gone.
hidden, but hidden doesn't mean inactive. So, like we have hidden blocks,
Hidden
right?
hidden blocks, yeah, that's something else.
Yeah.
They're actually there. So
You can't see them, but they're there.
so very simple. If call active,
Just Anthony, we didn't
return.
say that unit tests are bad for larger apps,
No,
like
I would never
for.
say that.
No, not at all.
I
Not at
just,
all.
in fact, is I worked at my university at another project, and there we did unit tests, and they have been awesome because they really helped in making sure the system works in a robust way. And I think unit tests are awesome for these kind of projects, but I don't really think they're the best thing for games. That's all really, because games are not like your usual software.
Yeah,
If
and
you,
it's not like we didn't talk about it. Like we had a lengthy talk about if we should use them.
I'm not sure it was lengthy, but yeah, I think
Yeah, 1 year ago, like we talked about this for at least 2 hours.
you think so.
Especially for the physics stuff, right? Like that was
Well,
a huge part where we considered like maybe it makes sense. But
well,
we were already done with physics basically, so
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, I think the only point where it makes sense to add unit tests is maybe in our physics engine, our core of the game, because there we actually did have some regression errors, but didn't happen very often. And it's just that the whole thing about unit tests is it really takes a lot of time to do them. I mean, if you create a system, you can create a good system that really helps you in doing that. But doing this for a game might actually be complicated because you kind of need to execute the whole game. It's kind of hard to isolate things. Um, anyway, now
I have to say
setting.
some of the problems we got are actually found by players because we never considered
Hmm?
them, right? Like some of the physics bugs, we found them through players.
Sure,
But then
through
a
play.
system that somehow checks this, I think the
Hmm.
players actually helped finding it better.
Yeah, I mean, quite
And
frankly,
even they could exactly tell us how it happened.
yeah. I think what's different is that in a lot of systems it's easy to overview certain bugs. It's kind of easy to miss them. But games are actually designed in a way that a lot of features are just somewhere within the game loop. And when you just play the
Mm.
game for a short amount of time, you will just notice the things very quickly. Unless they're like very subtle things which are usually not game breaking in the first place. But if there is something deeply wrong in your code, some regression errors, you usually notice it very quickly. That's why testing
Yeah.
by hand works pretty well for games. It's different from the rendering engine where it really depends on the application which kind of features are used. You know, I think that's really the big difference. If you develop a system, a library, which provides a whole bunch of features, you usually test. They're kind of like separated because you want to make sure that an application can use a certain set of these features but ignore the others, and that's why testing this by hand is it's not really feasible because you have to make sure that all the features which are isolated still work. But games are in a way that work in a way that they are not isolated. I mean, your goal is not to create a library with separated features, but your goal is to create a game that makes use of all the features that your engine provides. So when you play the game,
Possibly at the same time.
that's the ultimate application. It just tests through everything. And that's why I think that hand testing by hand works for games in particular. So that's all really.
A good, well phrased, the ultimate test.
Yeah, it is. That's the only application that needs to work. It's a game. So that's true if you do a game. If you do a game engine, things are different. But if you're not doing a game engine, you're doing a game. So okay, stop here. And let me tell you, unit tests wouldn't have solved this issue in particular because I simply didn't write a test. And it works. Solved it. And I did it. I did it before the time limit. Yes. Awesome.
1 minute before time limit.
Leah, stop falling into water. No, stop. Here. Yay. Okay. Great. So guys, I mean that was some cool dev streaming, I think. So first we started answering some questions, talking about damage formulas. Then we went on creating some maps, a bit doing some graphics, adding some puzzle elements, improving some puzzle elements. And then we found a physics bug, and I went right into the physics engine and fixed the physics engine. So that's
All the hardcore shit.
like your usual day working on CrossCode, I guess. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Have sometimes you have these kind of games, and
I think it's funny, like, I'm making maps, suddenly I find a problem in the physics engine.
this happens way too often, really. Uh, yay. Okay. Great. This is essentially it. I think at least now we are done with we do some actual work part. I mean, something we didn't do a long time because I didn't do any dev stream last week. We could draw some shit. I know if people are up to this, but actually I have to check if my graphics tablet actually plays along because it doesn't seem to work, which kind of sucks. I'm just gonna reset the settings. What? Is Obama a troll now? I don't really think so. Oh, who's a troll?
Ah,
I
no.
wouldn't
If
call
he
this a
is,
troll. I
then
mean, there are people, I mean, there are just people who think that, and I can understand their point of view because when you're in university or in some institutions, people actually teach you that way. Let's say unit tests are the one solution. You should
yep.
always do unit tests. That's the only proper way to program. And I just think it's a bit short-sighted, really. Um,
Yeah, I
it's
had
it's
exactly
true.
that experience. I mean, I had a whole
It's
course about that.
I'm not gonna say it's nonsense because I totally agree that unit tests make perfect sense for a lot of applications. I just don't think that makes sense for all kind of application. That's just overdoing it. So yeah, that's all.
Hmm.
Um,
It's also probably a bit matter of personal taste. How
yep.
you Well, we are game developers. We are not large software developers. We don't write network
Hmm.
applications big and scalable. We don't have fancy websites about it. We just write games,
Yep.
and games get pretty messy.
I mean, there
Like
was.
I can let's say something else in terms of this kind of as you said, short-sighted sometimes. CrossCode uses so much singletons. Like every software
Yeah.
engineer would have a heart attack when he sees this.
Yeah. But I never think we will ever have a problems using the singletons. I
Nope,
don't
not at
really
all.
think there will
Never.
ever be a problem. It just makes our life simple. That's all they do. Because there will
I
never
couldn't
be
even
any.
imagine how we would. When we used another system, I couldn't imagine why we should use another
Hmm.
system. That's just basically um, making our life harder. And the funny thing is, we made our lives harder ourselves, right? Because we wrote the system to make it scalable, although we don't need it, just so we can say we have a clean code. But it's not very usable. It
Yeah.
makes our lives harder, and we did it on our own. It's the same with getter and setter sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like I don't know. It's not easy to answer, but I think it doesn't always make sense to make a super secure, testable, scalable system. Anyway, I think we talked enough about this topic. So, um, all right. So
Um,
I think the issue really is that the guy simply left, and so it didn't make sense to answer that.
Dorata apparently found our little side project,
Yeah. Okay.
Ninja Hobo Connoisseur.
Yes. Yes.
Destroy all the fake wine spritzers.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so let's do something else now. Yeah. I wanted to check if I get my graphics tablet to work.
Yes, please. We have to draw
Hmm.
to stop.
Actually, I think something we didn't even talk about is that we're actually going to release a new version tomorrow.
Ah, yeah,
At least
guys,
that's the
there's a new
plan.
version tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope it will not break. I'm not even sure.
um,
Will it feature the new map? I actually don't think so.
Path 6.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I will.
If you're not finisher, then no. But
Yeah,
it's okay. Like we have 10 new maps for you
yeah.
guys,
So they have some.
and they're not even done. Like we still plan to add highlights.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, this so there will be new content in CrossCode. Obviously, there will be
Yeah.
Rookie Harbor. There will be the Bergen Trail. I'm just a bit concerned that people might actually realize it's not all that interesting to go through there, and that so just so that at least you people in the stream know we are aware of that. So the problem really is we added a lot of maps and we added enemies, but nothing else. So there could be more variation in the enemies, um, and there could be more variation and more content in those new areas in general. So that's something we're gonna improve in later versions.
Yes, definitely. Like especially with the quest system, and I
Yeah.
also think like when I think we talked about this, when we add story into these areas, they
Hmm.
instantly become more interesting because there's something in between that keeps you interested,
Yeah, exactly.
right? And keeps you going to the next part, and especially exploring these parts. Like you can see Felix creating here a map, and if you walk through this map the first time, it's like, oh, where can I go? All right, I can go there, and I can go there. Oh, I can go up there, and I have to go through another map, and things like that.
Woohoo!
It's always
Just gonna
it's
wanted to
always
say that graphics tablet works again.
Very nice.
Okay.
So yeah, we're completely aware of that, and this is definitely going to change.
But it's
As
probably
soon
not.
as we push out 0.2 version, we're going to work on 0.3, and there's going to be the quest system. And that's going to add a lot of interesting things because suddenly we don't have to hard code quests.
Well, we
We
still have
have
to do it to
more.
some extent. I mean, yeah,
Yes, to
it's
some extent, but we decrease the work and we can create custom random quests.
yeah.
And this is going to be interesting, and especially for those of you who like